again, I'm Brandy, your wellness coordinator, whatever. Today we're going to be with Laura, and they're going to talk to you about just mobility and movement, stuff like that. I said I have been eating ibuprofen since I've been playing this golf league. It's got me all out of whack. I'm going to have to go see her to get me realigned. These ladies are wonderful. Laura is a therapist with mental health and helps with that aspect of things. Lori is a chiropractor. They do a lot of amazing stuff for our police officers, and they came in once a month and pamper them, we'll say. And they all have great things to say about it. So I'll let them tell you a little bit more about themselves. June is Men's Health Month, so there's going to be a lot more stuff coming out about men's health, about what to get checked. Men live 5 years less than women, like their life expectancy is 5 years less.
Of course.
Whether it's due because you all do stupid stuff, or
course.
because you all don't.
First things first, y'all get the smart rib.
Or if it's because you all don't access health care or go to the doctors as often, which is what I see in the ER. Usually when men come to me, especially those old farmers and the blue collar group, when they come to me, they're usually pretty sick, is what I found. I'm going to pass these out. This is get it checked. So this is your checkup and screening guidelines. You should always have a prostate exam. You should always be, just like women check themselves for breast cancer, you should be checking yourself for things like testicular cancer, breast cancer. Men can get breast cancer. So this kind of gives you a guideline of how often you should get those things checked. So I'll hand those out. And I also have a guide for women. I know we have a couple of women here, so I'll hand these to you as well. Same thing, tells you how often you should get all the things checked. So with that, I'll let Lori and Laura take over.
Come on, who wouldn't want a prostate exam? Are you kidding me?
I know.
That's exciting stuff right there. Hi, everybody. My name is Lori Monaco. I'm a chiropractor here in Greene County. I am in Chucky. I have a lovely home office. I've been a chiropractor for over 27 years. So yes, I was 10 when I graduated. That was a joke. Please laugh if you know. Anyway, I'm a little different than most chiropractors. I do a lot of body work, so a session with me is like 45 minutes long. It's not an in and out. I do passive stretching and muscle work before I do the adjustment. So there's really no other chiropractor that does that in the area. Basically, muscles too tight, I fix them right. Need a crack, I got your back, okay? And then my partner in crime, I'll let her introduce herself.
Good morning, or good afternoon, I guess. I'm Laura Neckonecki Booth with Infinite Clarity. So I am a therapist here in the area. I've been working with first responders and individuals for the past over 20 years, and I'm happy to be here.
All right, so we do a lot of work together. She takes the mental, emotional side, and I take the physical side. Health, and now we're going to focus on your physical health, okay? How many of you, feel free to share that one, it's a good one. How many in here are 5 years or less at the job? Okay, how many in here are 10 or more at the job? Okay, and what is the how many years you need to put in really to retire? 80, it feels like 80, right? Okay. What we're trying to do today is to get you more excited about taking care of yourselves, and it's never too late. Doesn't matter what age you get to, the body is actually really, really resilient, and you can reverse certain things. You know, you can do things a little differently. The goal is you don't want to be doing this work. I mean, it's a physical job, you know, and then you have to go home, you got your normal responsibilities, and then you don't want to be doing this for years, and then when you finally get to retirement, you can't do anything because you're too sore or too, the mobility is not there anymore. How many of you have kids that are younger than 15 or younger? Or have grandkids in your life, okay? I am 56. I had a kid late in life. I have 3, but my last one came when I was 43. And so for me, I cannot afford to be looking like a grandmother. And acting like a grandmother. I need to be very physical. And so I want to do fun stuff with her. You know, we kayak, we hike, we do all kinds of stuff. And so for me to do that, plus do my job, I need to stay very mobile. Not to mention, I decided that it would be a lot of fun to be a single woman and come down and have a homestead and run a business at the same time. And so not only do I have to do my business, and take care of my kids and have fun with them, but I also have to take care of the livestock and cut the grass and do all this stuff. So I look at it some days and I'm like, I don't wanna get out of bed. But I can physically do it, which is the great part, okay? So, because ibuprofen isn't a food group, it's basically what we're trying to say is, you don't need to be popping something all the time. You can do some stuff for yourself that will help you stay in less pain, right? Pain is not something that we strive for, and it's not an automatic. You know, it's downhill after 30, and you know, you're supposed to be in pain when you get older. Not necessarily. Not as much as much pain as we are in our society. We really shouldn't be in that much pain. All right. So raise your hand if something hurts when you get out of bed. You make noises standing up. And good noises too. You know, you ever get out of the chair, you're like, oh, you know, one of those. You sit down and immediately wonder if you'll ever get back up. You've said, I slept wrong and injured yourself. That's the great part. How many of you have actually got up, slept wrong, woke up with an injury, and then lied about it the next day and said, oh no, yeah, I was doing something over the weekend, I'm a little crazy. Because we don't want to admit when we get older that we're like getting out of bed hurting. So we'll throw something out. Because the younger guys, the younger people would be out there and like doing something nuts over the weekend, and then that's why they're hurting. But we're just like, I slept funny. That's like not even a good reason, you know? Okay, so basically, you're adults. The real goal is not necessarily looking good. We cross it out, but doesn't mean you don't want to still strive for that. Looking good, losing weight, eating kale, you can cross that one out. The goal is freedom, and movement is freedom. Motion is freedom. Think about the things that you do in your life, all of them, okay, that require you to move. And if you're hurting and your joints are bad, you're not going to be able to do those, okay? And basically, it's just living your life. So you can add to those things, all right? How many people like riding on a motorcycle? Who's our motorcycle people here, right? So it's not the most comfortable ride sometimes, but you want to go for a nice long drive, and then when you come back, you know, you're hurting, it's a little sore. So you want to be able to enjoy that, you know? The goal isn't just to live longer, it's to live better. Okay, we can live longer, we know that, but you don't want to trade off your physical well-being for just to live longer. You know, you don't want to be pushed in a wheelchair. I'll tell you, real realization for me was, my sister is actually 8 years older than I am. She's in even better shape. She's crazy. She's with the stuff that she could do. But we went to NPAC a couple of years ago to watch an 80s, it was a band that was playing a whole bunch of 80s stuff. And we walk in and we're excited because we were 80s people, right? I was a teenager in the 80s and she was a little older, and this is going to be a great time. And as I'm seeing people walk in, people are coming in like walkers. People are coming in with canes, and I'm looking at her going, oh my God, are we this old? Like, what is going on here, you know? But that is what's happening because we just let ourselves go. If you were able to look back at your younger self, I always think this way when I see people that are my age and really hurting like that. I always think, I wonder if they thought this would be this way when they were in their 20s. Nobody ever thinks that, right? But we just accept it. We sort of get bad as we go, and we just ignore it. So your body is like a city truck. When equipment breaks, downtime, repairs, money, when you break, pain, loss, activities, medical bills, believe me, it's a lot worse when we break down. We take better care usually of our vehicles than we do ourselves. You know, we usually do more maintenance. You want to add to that at all? Or?
No, I think that's pretty much says it all.
So maintenance is always cheaper than repairs. The good thing is that we can reverse certain things. So don't think it's too late. You can start making the changes now. Motion is lotion. Your body adapts to whatever you do most. So that means if you sit a lot, your body's going to adapt to sitting. If you stand a lot, your body's going to adapt to standing. And while standing is better for longer periods of time, anybody ever just try to stand? So we have a couple of officers here. If you stand in one position too long, it actually starts to hurt your knees and your back. That's why most people end up having to walk. If they have a job that requires them to stand, they have to move. You know, they're always doing something. Because we don't like doing one thing for too long. and we definitely don't like sitting for too long, which is what a lot of people do in jobs these days. So quick anatomy lesson. We have our spine, our shoulder joint, and our knee joint. Those are gonna be the main players. Not that the hips aren't, it's just the hips can take a lot because they're very strong, powerful joints. But your shoulder is your most mobile joint, and we use it more than we even realize it, because when the day that shoulder's not feeling too great, you go to reach up to get something out of your cupboard, you're like, oh, okay, yeah, I can feel it in my shoulder. The knee takes the brunt of a lot of stuff, and especially, not just walking and stuff, but even bending down, you know, if you're squatting or doing anything like that. And the spine controls all of it, everything's connected. So weak things get weak, tight things get tight, stop moving things, stop moving. What happens if a vehicle, right, so people are more akin to understanding the way, you know, like cars and trucks work, yeah. What happens if it sits too long? What happens if you just let it park in your yard, in the garage or something, it just sits there, you don't start it?
Doesn't run.
That's right. And it's weird because it's not just the battery or something like that, it's like there's all of a sudden squeaking, and it needs to move, like the vehicle needs to move, we need to move, okay? All right, the spine supports your body, protects your nerves, allows movement. This is my specialty as a chiropractor, this is what we tend to adjust, although I can adjust other joints as well. Spine loves to walk, loves to stretch, loves changing positions. It hates being in one position for hours. It also hates, you can lift with your spine, you can do all kinds of great stuff with it, but it's kind of like physics in the sense, like if you're lifting up something really heavy, if you're closer to your body, it's a little bit easier on the spine, but if you pull away like that and you pick up something heavy, you're requiring the muscles to work even harder and the bones and joints to work harder, and you can really torque something out of place. So that's why they use, bend your knees. Well, it's not always easy to bend your knees to lift something up, but if you pull it a little closer to your body, if you can. Like, I mean, I grew up in the Northeast, you know, shoveling snow was not an uncommon thing, but I've also shoveled my share of gravel. I'm always throwing gravel somewhere in my yard. So when I do that, I do bend a little bit, but I also tend to keep, when I'm picking it up, I try to pull it back a little bit so that the shovel part is closer to me, so it's not as much strain on my back, you know. You might have to alter positions when you do some of your jobs as best you can. You know, those are little things that you can do to help yourself out. All right. Our head weighs a lot. Our brain weighs a lot. Well, maybe not everybody, but our head weighs a lot, and when we bend, it actually changes, again, this is physics, it actually changes the amount of pressure on the spine. So the more we look down, straight up, you're at 15 pounds of pressure, or I'm sorry, 15 degrees, 27 pounds of pressure, 60 pounds of pressure. What position is our head in a lot these days? That forward position, that's right, because we're always on our phones, and it takes a toll on the neck. It's called tech neck, that's what they nicknamed it for people that are always on their phones, right? So how do you alleviate that is you really have to stretch, you have to offset it, you have to do these opposite motions to sort of get the neck, you know, healthy, okay? The shoulder story, why does putting on a jacket suddenly feel like CrossFit events, right? If you cannot move your shoulders and you can't do these things, right? The shoulder is the most mobile joint. It's going to cause problems, and then what happens is when it hurts, we compensate by not using it that much. And the more you don't use it, you can eventually get something called frozen shoulder. And sometimes that happens with an injury like a rotator cuff injury, but sometimes it can happen just by pain in the shoulder for a lot of reasons. Person uses it less, and when you don't use it, you lose it. Okay, so it becomes very restricted. In the beginning, you could ignore it, you say, it's not too bad, I don't mind, I don't care, but then it gets worse, and then you want to do stuff like fun stuff or things that you really need to get done, and then you can't use it, okay? You should be able to do this. You should be able to lift your arms up like that and stretch them back. And again, this is somebody I'm not, like, my job is very physical, but I also have always done physical work. Like, I've always done a lot of yard work. I've always done crazy stuff. And there was a point where I did have an issue with my shoulder, and I had to get a cortisone shot in one, and then almost a year later, I had to get it in the other one. And I'm not a big medicine fan. I mean, I don't usually use too much, but there was no doubt I could not live with the pain that was there. And as soon as the swelling went down, this arm, when it happened, I hadn't used it for a week because it was so painful. When I got the cortisone shot, no pain, but I couldn't lift my arm up. That's how quickly you can lose the muscle strength in a joint. So that's why when this one started, as soon as this one started hurting the same way, I went right to the orthopedist. I said, I know what it is. You can take an x-ray. I'm telling you what it is. Just give me the shot and let's be out of here. And within 2 days, I got the shot and I was fine. So, but I'm glad to have got my, range of motion back because I went to PT, but I also pushed myself. All right. The knees. Knees love walking, strength. They like to be strong. Okay, they like you using your legs. They like to be mobile. They like you to be a healthy weight. Knees can take a huge amount of pressure. All right. People's knees don't start messing up. Even with, you see some people that are extremely obese, and they'll still have pretty good knees. But once it goes, it's not easy to reverse this particular joint. So if you hurt the cartilage in your knee, it's not saying that's it, but you have to do some extra stuff. You can take some supplements, you can do certain exercises. Pool work is really good for knee joint issues. But let's not get it to that level. Let's always just try to be, aware of what we're doing when it comes to the knee. So there's this fine line about the balance. How much too much movement and too little movement. You have to find it somewhere in the middle, okay? And how many of you at the end of your day do feel pain, like you're in pain? You're pretty stiff, you're sore. How about getting up in the morning? Anybody? Nobody wants to raise their hand? I know you all feel it, so don't say that. Don't even go there.
They're too manly.
Yeah, they're too.
I say all.
What was the second one you said?
Do you wake up with pain?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. All right.
I used to, but I take cayenne pepper and it helps.
Yeah, well, there's a lot of great supplements that you can absolutely take to alleviate a lot of that stuff, and it's better than the ibuprofen. The reason being is that a lot of these affect your liver over a period of time, and then you get a lead which actually affects your kidneys, and you really don't want that. So if you use them in high quantities, they will affect you at some point, and that's even worse of a situation. But yeah, there's a lot of natural things that you can do, absolutely. Because really what it comes down to is it's inflammation. And you can get the inflammation from what you eat, what you do, and if you can keep the inflammation down, your joints will feel a lot better. And you don't even have to sometimes make huge changes. It could be just one little thing that kind of sets you off on the inflammatory process, and then you cut that out and you feel much better after that. All right, so basically, we don't want to be like that. Especially, we say, okay, the person's like 80-something years old, and it's understandable there or whatever. I have a patient that she's celebrating her 86th birthday. She and her 84-year-old companion are flying to Costa Rica for a week to hang out and celebrate her birthday. In the fall, she's 85. She turns 86 in July 4th. In the fall, she came to me at 85. And she was telling me that her and her two girlfriends were heading to the beach, going to Myrtle Beach, driving, and her two friends were 92 and 94, and the 94-year-old was driving. And I'm going, this is just something, this is what I want to be, And I asked her, you have a good time? She says, oh my God, we had a blast. And hearing, she's like the hippest, she's the coolest lady. And I look at that and I say, it's achievable, could be all of us, absolutely. All right. Question is, if you want to be, I always tell my kids, I want to live as long as possible to annoy them as long as possible. That's my goal in life. All right. So basically, and now for some of you that are younger, you're not thinking about retirement, but I'm telling you from somebody who's older, this comes quick. You get to a certain age and it comes quick. 10 years goes by quick. 20 years goes by quick. So that's why I want you to start thinking of it in terms of not freaking out about that, but just living in the moment and say, okay, I feel this way. Is it my optimal way of feeling? Can I feel better? And if I can, what can I do about it? But you do want to, you want to enjoy your life, When you get, I know people that are retiring, and they have nothing else to do now, and they can do whatever they want. Their kids are older, and they're feeling, and they wanna get out there, and they wanna travel, or they wanna try new things, they wanna go camping, and go cross-country and stuff like that. It will be so much better if you have your mobility, and you're not in pain, okay? Even with playing with grandkids, if you have grandkids, you wanna be able to have a good time with them. You wanna create memories with them. You sitting on the porch, although that does get talked about in folklore, right? The grandma sitting on the porch or grandpa sitting on the porch and telling stories, But you wanna also be able to enjoy their lives, So you have to keep thinking, future. So I love this, it says, looking for the remote, watching everyone else have fun, losing track of the days, feeling left behind. It is the truth. The bottom is cut off, it says, don't retire into a recliner, right? Because you can make that choice by just doing some little changes here and here. And so basically, the mobility bank account, making deposits, walking, stretching, strength training, good sleep, or making withdrawals, sitting, poor diet, chronic stress, inactivity. How many people in here work out? How many go to the gym? Okay, good. That's all right. If you do go to the gym, also take advantage of any personal trainers that they have there. Because you'd be surprised, a lot of people, I can't sometimes watch people at the gym, and I tend to people watch because of my job, and I watch them lift the weights improperly, and I'm thinking, I should hand in my card right now because I will have some good business if I do that. So if you want to do that, you want to start going to the gym, and you don't know what to do, then some of them do a free personal training one time, some of them do it for a few, or some of them just it's low cost, but it's worth it just a few sessions so that you know how to do it properly. But just get out, move around, enjoy yourselves, and find the time to do it. But also, it's not just physical. It doesn't just have to be movement. Do things that you like. If you like watching a good comedy flick or something like that, and yeah, you're sitting down watching it, but watch a movie and then get up in a little while, stretch a little bit. But laughter is also really good. It's actually really good for circulation. It's really good for your muscles. If you've had a really hearty time where you were with your people and you're laughing really hard and you're oh my god, my stomach is killing me from laughing so much. That's great. It's great for your lungs. It's great for all the muscles in your chest that help you breathe. Right? So those are all other things that you can do. Look at grandma, man. She's jacked. Muscles equal independence. Carry groceries with ease. Lift grandkids without strain. Climb stairs confidently. Get off the floor independently. Avoid dangerous falls. Muscle is the retirement plan nobody talks about. If you have a 2-story house and you are over a certain age, guess what a lot of people do after a certain age? They will put that 2-story house on the market and switch to a ranch because it's getting harder and harder to walk them down the steps, all right? We have a 3-story house. My sister is on the 3rd floor because we live together with my two of my 3 kids. She's on the 3rd floor with a spiral staircase on that from the 2nd to the 3rd floor. She's an avid hiker. She hikes all the time. 64 years old. So that doesn't bother her at all, She's got her balance. But if she did not, this would have been an impossible house for us to get, all right, to live in. All right, 5-minute maintenance plan, all right? You need consistency. A gym membership, fancy supplements, personal trainer named Chad, and you need consistency. Those are not horrible things to have, even though it's crossed out. It's just that don't say that this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to go here, and I'm going to get that gym membership, and you get it, and you go once, and then that's it, you pay it every month. You want to do stuff that's realistic for you to do, that makes sense for you to do. How many of you ever weed whack your yard? Weed whacking is tough on the back. You'll feel pretty good doing other stuff, but then you start weed whacking, and then the next morning you're like, oh dang, why is my there's all this area hurt? But it is a good workout though, And if you just kind of do it, stretch yourself a little bit before weed whack, stretch yourself afterwards. But all of those things, if you have those things to do, it's consistency. So you're not going to weed whack every day, but you find other things that you can do. All right.
Yeah, small things often.
Small things often, exactly. Walk 10 to 20 minutes a day. And some of your jobs are that way, you know, you might have a job that is that way. Well, if that is your normal routine, you have to add to it is what we're saying, okay? Your body already is adapted to what you do, so whatever your physical job is right now, your body's already adapted, you have to challenge it a little bit, okay? Stretch 5 minutes, stand up an hour, drink water. Hydration is a big one. We don't drink enough water. How much water should we drink a day? Anybody know?
8 glasses.
And it varies depending on who you talk to, but, what did you tell them?
Well, so I give them the actual, which is the 100, men are different than women,
Yeah.
so the 3.7 liters per.
Or if you wanna make it a little easier on yourself, because we for some reason can't do liters in this country.
Yeah.
If you wanna make it easier, just take your weight, put it in half, and that's the amount of ounces you
Yeah,
need.
that's what I
Right.
said this morning, how
Yep.
much thing. And we're doing a hydration challenge, just kicked it off, it's gonna be kicked off for the summer, so, official part of the summer, June 21st. We're gonna do, at least 64 ounces a day
Okay.
for 30 days.
And is water good for you? Good question. Is it good for you?
Yep.
Yes, it's necessary. Can you drink too much water?
Yes.
Yes, you can. In one setting. If you drink too much water in one setting, it actually throws your blood pH levels off and can actually throw you into a real emergency situation.
Yeah.
So you gotta spread it out, you know, you gotta spread it out throughout your day
Don't carry the gallon jug and chug it all.
and chug it all at once, right?
I've seen bodybuilders do that, and I'm like,
That's a big one today now, right?
As long as
You
you're
like
sweating it out.
What is
As long
it?
as as long as you're sweating it out,
That's
you
correct.
get drunk.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
you
We think
cannot
we need-
have-
Again, consistency.
We think we need electrolytes all the time because it's pushed, but electrolytes, you will get those from stuff that you eat too. It's just that if you're sweating a lot, they're water soluble, so they come out in sweat. So you don't need them as much as, in fact, I always laugh, anybody ever see the movie Idiocracy? If you haven't, watch it, it's really funny. Idiocracy, that's what they watered the crops with, was because everybody needs electrolytes, and it killed the crops, and they couldn't figure it out because they were all stupid. It's a great movie to see to see what our future could potentially look like. All right, but just always challenge yourself, move more than yesterday. And do different things, you know, try doing different moves that you don't normally do. Don't do anything crazy, but do different things, you know? The Grand Kick test, walk a mile, sit on the floor, get back up, carry 25 pounds, reach overhead. How many of you have trouble sitting down on the floor and then getting back up? It's like little things like that, you know? It's simple, we don't think about it, but if you're like, oh, you know, and you're constantly having to push yourself up, you know? I went hiking with my kids, we went up to the falls over in Hampton, and if anybody, I don't remember the name of the falls, but if anybody's ever been to this thing, it's pretty easy to where the falls are, and then you have to go down these rocks that are like stairs, and it's crazy steep. And of course, and I'm going down there going, now I'm not, and I have let myself go definitely, but I'm still pretty active, but not with that, because I haven't done that in a long time. That's one of the activities I don't do regularly. So we're going down, and I'm going, man, I wonder how long it's gonna take me to get up these steps, you know? Well, pretty quick, because we were down there about 20 minutes, and I saw the clouds rolling in, and I'm like, uh-oh, we really need to get the heck out of here. And 1.3 mile hike, which is not a lot, but it is when you have to go up something like that. And sure enough, we start up, and then downpour, thunder, lightning. You never saw 3 people like go up those steps so quick in your life. But I was actually happy about it. We were soaking wet, but man, I pushed myself, and I felt good. And here's the kicker. I didn't hurt that night, and I didn't hurt the next day, and I didn't hurt the day after. So that told me that even though I was out of shape, that I was doing something right. I drank a lot of water, actually took an Epsom salt bath that night just in case, because I had to work the next day, so I couldn't afford to be sore. All right, so start now, not because you're old, but because you want options later. Small challenges, big results. Walk more, stretch more, sit less, sleep better, repeat. Small actions done consistently beat big actions done occasionally. All right, your challenge is, so you only need to do one of these things. If you want to take a picture of it, that'd be great. You'd only have to do one, but if you could do more, that's great, all right? Walk 15 minutes daily, stretch 5 minutes. take the stairs when you can, get up every hour, not meaning when you're sleeping, meaning like if you have a sitting job, get up every hour, like put a little timer on, make sure you get up. Park away farther. Anybody ever do that? I like to do that, partially because I don't want people digging my car either, but it's nice, you know, if you park a little further and you walk a little further, you know, it's just that little extra thing that you can do makes a difference. All right, future is, the future you is watching, all right? You can either make different choices and continue enjoying your life, or you could just kind of fade away. And I'm gonna tell you right now that there's so much evidence too that not only is movement really good for your mobility, but it's also good for your brain. The research shows that you need circulation. The more you move, the more your blood circulates, the better it is for your brain, and it prevents dementia. Okay, so most people know it as Alzheimer's, right? I watched my dad fade away. I watched my dad just kind of give up, and he stopped moving, and he did have high blood pressure, so he's on some meds, and he just didn't want to move anymore, didn't want to be involved with anything anymore, and he just faded away. And this was a guy who was a crazy, like he did comedy, he did, you know, he was just a lot of fun to always be around. He was very creative, he invented things, and I watched him just deteriorate over 10 years, and it was hard. And I ended up becoming, my mother and I ended up being his caregivers. You know, so who would have ever thought that I would have been showering my dad? And I'm grateful that he allowed me to do it, because he didn't feel weird about it, and I didn't feel weird about it. It was just, to me, it was like, this is the right thing to do. But I don't want to be a burden to my kids. I want to enjoy them, and then hopefully I'll just go to bed at night and die in my sleep, and all be good and won't have to worry about anything.
Well, it's not just dementia, it's other mental health symptoms. That's why Lori and I worked so much well together. The more you move, the more your mental health feels better as well. So when, you know, a lot of my work deals with the vagus nerve system, which creates that fight, flight, or freeze response, and we want to get those cortisol levels down so your stress response is calm for any time that you have any difficult situations where you're starting to struggle with anxiety, depression, you know, if you have a traumatic situation, PTSD. Movement is going to help with that. It's going to help process all those emotions that you might be experiencing in that time period, as well as reset that nervous system within you to kind of create a sense of calm. So you have better access to it when you're stressing your body out, because you're physically moving it. So the more you move, the better you actually feel, not just physically, but mentally as well.
Yep. Okay, so getting older is mandatory, becoming a human lawn ornament is optional. All right, and just to show you, so Laura is actually a competitive ballroom dancer. So she actually competes doing ballroom, and that's showing me I'm adjusting a horse. I do horse adjustments as well, and it's a little bit more physical than adjusting humans. But I love what I do, and she loves what she does, and that's just part of it. Like we're both, she's a traveler, I'm a traveler. Like we do a lot of stuff that requires us to have mobility, to be able to access things. You know, if we're in a wheelchair or a walker, we can't do the things, we can't access things that we want to be able to access. You know, if we have a cane. And so that's why we keep the way we are, you know, keep going and doing things that we want to do. And then noticing, that's the other thing too, is to notice when you're feeling a certain way, to pay attention to it. So one tip that you can do, and I'm sorry I didn't add this to the slide or handout, is at the end of your day, so here's a little trick that you could do. It's called contrast therapy. When you're done with your work day, you go take that shower. As soon as you're done with your shower, before you get out, I want you to crank the heat up on that shower as hot as you can stand it, and let the heat hit the areas that bother you. So like, let's say it's your low back, so you let the faucet the shower head just hit that area. If it's the whole back, you let it hit the whole back. And you do that for about 2 minutes, as hot as you can stand it, okay? Then you turn the hot off and you put just cold on, all right? Yeah, cold is wicked, but it works. And then you do that for about a count of 30. You don't have to do 2 minutes, because that's pretty harsh. But you do it for a count of 30 in the same exact area. And I want you to do that every time you take your shower at the end of your day, so that what it's doing is the heat will bring in circulation, it will relax the muscles, and the cold will flush it out. And the cold also tends to, it numbs the muscle a little bit for pain, all right? And so it's gonna, if you don't like cold, it is harsh, but I'm telling you, it really works. So if you start doing this on a daily basis, you will notice within a few days that you are feeling a little bit better, okay? Anybody have any questions on anything for me or Laura? No?
I highly recommend, if you haven't, have a consultation with Lori, she keeps me moving. So I see Lori regularly and I'm very grateful for her, because I know every time something's out of whack, I even know my body more because I started seeing her, because I'm like, oh, that feels a little off, you know? She will help me correct it, so definitely, reach out if you notice anything that you're not willing to say here.
And I encourage you to, like, YouTube is a really great source for looking up stretches and doing different things, There's always somebody that's posting something on how to do different things. And there's so many ways to stretch muscles. And a lot of people don't realize how you stretch a muscle. They'll be like, oh yeah, I stretch a little bit. It's like, well, how to kind of take your time. But I encourage you to do that. You're worth the investment, let's put it that way. You really are. And I'm sure there's people in your life that will agree that you're worth investing in yourself. Not to mention, it also encourages other people in your own life, If you're taking care of yourself and you're taking those steps, it will encourage other people that, that you're with to want to do the same. All right, so no questions, anything?